Hey everybody, my name is Joe Werner, and I'm the District Math Instructional Specialist. In this video, I have the pleasure of introducing a document known as the Agua Fria Union High School District Standards-Based Grading Guiding Principles and Expectations. Because that's quite the mouthful, we're going to simply refer to it as the SBG document. In this video, we're going to dive into our district's history with standards-based grading. We'll talk about the district's SBG committee, which resulted in the SBG document. We'll dissect the document a bit and then talk about next steps. But first, what is standards-based grading and why are we so excited about it? So to sum it up in a sentence, SBG is a system of assessing and reporting that promotes accuracy and content mastery through the assurance of research-based practices. To dive a little deeper, SBG puts an emphasis on what students know as opposed to what those students are doing. For example, in a traditional gradebook, we often see tasks like homework assignments and quizzes and projects. In a standards-based gradebook, we see a focus on standards mastery. The majority of the grade is based on the proficiency of content targets. Teachers still assign practice, quizzes, and projects, but student grades are solely a reflection of their understanding of the standards. So another gigantic component of standards-based grading is the promotion of the growth mindset. We know that no two students learn the exact same way at the exact same pace. We also understand that learning is a cyclical process, not a linear one. SBG practices ensure that students are given the opportunity and time to prove mastery. Yeah, but why? Great question. Based on research, we know we can increase accuracy and fairness of our assessment and grading procedures by adopting these practices. Studies have shown that providing students with specific information in terms of particular objectives can radically increase their achievement. Now, SBG is not new to education and not even necessarily new to our district, but for the sake of simplicity, let's review our district's recent history with SBG by tracking our growth from the past 3 years. So in 2016, nationally recognized SBG guru Tom Schimmer attended our district's back-to-school event with his keynote entitled Grading from the Inside Out. A small cohort of teachers decided to implement standards-based grading in their classroom that year after drinking the proverbial Kool-Aid. Throughout the year, site and district admin continued to encourage and promote these modern grading practices. Teachers were attending conferences and workshops. Teams were also helping to streamline the gradebook process and synergy. As a result, by the 2017-18 school year, there were over 30 teachers in the district going full SBG. And here comes the really exciting part. Although districts and sites were still sending teachers to conferences, the majority of learning and exploration was happening through teacher collaboration. PD breakout sessions, early release presentations, and PLC meetings. Teachers talking to teachers about the impact SBG was having in their classroom. By the 2018-19 school year, we grew and we grew. Over 100 plus teachers were implementing standards-based grading, not to mention Canyon View High School, who went full SBG in their first year. More and more people were drinking the Kool-Aid. So when we think about SBG in our district, 4 words come to mind. The first is growth, right? So as you can see, in the last 3 years, the amount of teachers adopting SBG has been growing exponentially. What's so great about this is that for the most part, it's organic. There's never been a top-down mandate to implement SBG in the classroom. Because of this organic movement, teachers have been empowered to collaborate and share best practices with each other, which has definitely been encouraged through our district's adoption of PLCs. And lastly, we have seen a tremendous amount of innovation and creativity, from teachers creating mastery trackers, standards-based rubrics, and student self-assessments. So that brings us to the present, where it's time to establish what we're loose and tight about in SBG. What does that mean? Well, the late, great Richard Dufour, known as the king of the PLC movement, notes that a district that is both loose and tight establishes parameters and priorities that everyone must adhere to while allowing the room for teachers to have the autonomy to make decisions and be creative. The parameter is the tight, while the team and site empowerment is the loose. So we're going to take Dufour's concept of tight and loose and apply it to standards-based grading in our district, where the tight represents the district's expectations and the loose represents site and teacher team expectations. In the fall semester of 2018, the district formed an SBG committee. The purpose was to establish what our district is going to be tight and loose about in regards to teachers implementing SBG in their classroom. The reason behind this work was to provide teachers and admin with guidelines that can ensure best practices based on the most up-to-date research. So how do we do this? Well, we whittled down all of the hot topics of grading to 6 essential categories: reassessment, role of the zero, role of practice, types of evidence, communication, and levels of proficiency. The goal here was to provide district and site expectations for each category. The committee was made up of 13 staff members. In order to ensure diversity of perspectives, we had a mix of teachers, admin, and instructional specialists. We also understood that each site may have different needs, right? So we made sure to have at least 2 members per school on the committee. We'd like to take this time just to thank the amazing members of the committee. Their creativity and expertise were crucial to the outstanding work they produced, and because of that, they all get crowns. The committee met for over 9 hours and used their experience along with the most recent research to help inform all of the decisions that were made. The result was the first draft of what is known as the SBG document. And there it is, the SBG document. Since the first draft, the document has been through many stages of synthesis and evaluation, including department chairs, the district's PD council, and several teachers across the district. You will all have a chance to take a closer look at the document, so for the sake of time, here's a brief overview of what you can expect. So, the first page outlines our district's guiding principles in the area of standards-based grading. Note that each principle correlates directly to one of the 6 essential categories that we outlined previously in this video. So we have reassessment, types of evidence, the role of practice, proficiency levels, the role of the zero, and communication. The remainder of the document takes each one of these categories and breaks it down into our district and site expectations. So here's an example of the reassessment portion of the document. Remember, the district expectations represent what we were tight about, while the site and PLC expectations represent the loose. So for example, if you're implementing standards-based grading in the classroom successfully, we expect that students are receiving full credit on reassessments, as opposed to averaging in old evidence. However, sites or teachers have the autonomy to decide how students will engage in the reassessment process. What they must do in order to reassess on a particular target is up to the site or the team. So now that we have this document, what's next? Well, remember, the purpose was to establish clear district-wide expectations for teachers implementing SBG in the classroom. This does not apply to everyone. The district is not mandating that every teacher adopt all of these practices in their classroom. Think of it as 2 paths. So in this example, the left path represents teachers who are electing to fully implement standards-based grading in their classroom. These teachers will be expected to follow the SBG document and use the guidelines provided to ensure they are using best practices. The right path, on the other hand, represents teachers who are not fully implementing SBG in the classroom. They do not need to follow the document front to back. However, if a teacher wants to implement some of these standards-based grading practices without going all in, they are encouraged to adopt the categories that fit their needs. So in the meantime, our district is hoping to provide an environment where teachers feel supported to implement SBG successfully. We'll continue to encourage growth, provide training and resources when necessary, and even adapt some of these expectations along the way. So in closing, the SBG document provides a list of expectations that ensure teachers are implementing sound grading practices. Teachers who are full SBG in the next school year will be expected to follow the document. However, not every teacher is required to use the document. Those interested in a more hybrid gradebook will use portions of the document when applicable. And that's it for our introduction to the SBG document. The Ed Services team would like to thank the SBG committee, along with all the teachers, admin, and coaches who have provided their invaluable input into this project. If you have any questions at all, please refer to your site admin or reach out to the Ed Services team at edservices@agufria.org. Have a great day.